A Travis Scott concert goer shares her horrifying experience in the mosh pit, where 8 people lost their lives.
A new mandate requires proof of vaccination at any store, bar, restaurant, or gym in LA. Find out how this is affecting business.
And a private screening of Squid Game is about to begin in Hollywood. Reporter Julia Kim is live from the red carpet. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
I heard Travis one time stop the show or stop singing or whatever, and he was like, hey, someone's passing out over here, like security. And then he was like, okay, guys, like, I want to make this earth shake and stuff.
The Houston Police Department is launching a criminal investigation into the Travis Scott concert that left 8 people dead and hundreds injured. Good evening, I'm Nathan Hyun.
And I'm Brett Chody. The rapper has promised to pay for the funerals of the victims who were crushed to death at the Astroworld Festival on Friday. Festival security was overwhelmed from the start when ticket holders knocked down barricades and stormed the entrance. The crowd of 50,000 was packed so tightly when Scott hit the stage that many attendees couldn't breathe. One concert goer says she's grateful she got out safely.
I was in the back at first, and then somehow, the crowd just like moves forward. There was no room. I couldn't, like, if my hands were up, they were staying up. There was one point where I went flying, and my friend like kind of grabbed me, and like, it was a lot. I think events like that can be done better. There needs to be more security, more staff. The artists need to take more charge. I mean, Travis could have stopped that whole thing.
In a tweet on Saturday, Scott said, quote, "I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into the tragic loss of life." The Astroworld tragedy is raising questions about safety at concerts on campus. We spoke to the director of USC's concert committee about what safety precautions are in place.
So we have multiple fire marshals on site at every event. They monitor things really closely, and they will pull the plug on us. They make that very clear. Any artist that we bring on has to get approved by TPS and by the USG officials who are above us. They look for artists who have maybe a history of kind of riling up crowds or like encouraging people to mosh or just kind of like be unsafe in that way.
The next big concert at USC will be Conquest, held in McCarthy Quad on November 18th. Student safety is a major concern. We talked to 2 students who are avid concert goers about their concert experiences and what protective measures they would like to see.
Yeah, it's definitely made me like listen to my gut and like be more aware of like my surroundings. You know, I think promoting more like where their safety areas are and also where the emergency exits are too.
And at one point, like during the mosh and during just like the craziness of the situation, I was not standing. Like I was like held up floating by other people, and it was like actually really scary. Honestly, it's really terrifying to not be control your own body in those kind of situations.
Concert goers can take further safety precautions by having an exit plan beforehand, standing on the fringes to avoid congestion, and following the flow of the audience during crowd surges if you're already trapped in the crowd.
Scott has already pulled out of his next festival appearance at Day in Vegas, scheduled for next Saturday. But thousands are now petitioning to have the artist removed from the 2022 Coachella lineup. 2 online petitions are circulating following the tragic deaths and injuries at Scott's Astroworld performance this weekend. Organizers say the artist has shown quite deliberate recklessness during his shows and could further endanger Coachella attendees. The controversy is brewing on Twitter, where many are calling for his removal. One tweet says, quote, "Even if he isn't 100% at fault for what happened last night, it's clear that he and the energy and rage rhetoric that he brings is a safety liability." The 2 petitions are directed at Golden Voice, the promotion company that books the lineup for Coachella. The official artist schedule for the 2022 festival is expected to drop in January. In order to visit indoor businesses in LA, you must now show proof of vaccination. The ordinance that took effect today includes businesses such as bars, restaurants, and movie theaters. Those 12 years old and up are required to show proof of vaccine or a negative test taken within 72 hours. The ordinance will be fully enforced beginning November 29th, and a physical copy, photo, or QR code of your vaccine all count as proof.
Our owner has to put his own money to keep us employed. And I know that's hurting him really badly. So just to see him be able to keep his doors open if people are vaccinated and we're not getting sick because we're all vaccinated as a staff. And if people aren't getting sick, that lowers the COVID rate, then I'm all for it. I don't think it's gonna slow down business just because I think people want to be out in the normal world. So I don't think it's gonna be that bad.
There are exceptions to the city's mandate. Unvaccinated people who don't qualify for exemption can still use outdoor areas. Businesses that don't comply by November 29th can be issued a citation and fined $1,000 for a second violation.
Hundreds of LA City employees at risk of losing their jobs protested against the vaccine mandate in downtown LA this morning. They called it a March for Freedom. LA City Council requires all city employees to be fully vaccinated by December 18th. Many employees argue the government should not interfere with their personal health choices, and some are prepared to lose their jobs.
I've not had a vaccination since I was a kid. It's never been forced on me. I don't put my faith in doctors or politicians. My faith is in the Lord Jesus Christ.
I'm currently suspended right now because I didn't get the vaccine. So I could lose my job. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose my job. But it doesn't matter because right now it's freedom or it's over. So.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti cautioned that all unvaccinated city employees, except those who qualify for a medical or religious exemption, will be laid off. And as of today, travel restrictions have been lifted to and from the United States for vaccinated passengers from 30 countries. These are 7 widely used vaccines that the United States and the World Health Organization do not recognize. The vaccines are made in Russia, Latin America, China, Singapore, Cuba, Iran, Taiwan, and India. President Carol Folt announced a, quote, commitment to candor in an email sent this afternoon. The email outlines the university's continued emphasis on providing accurate information in the aftermath of the recent sexual assault allegations at USC. Folt says she sees it as USC's responsibility to listen to and truthfully answer questions from the USC community. Coming up, our political anchor breaks down the biggest infrastructure bill in U.S. history.
If you're a fan of the popular Netflix show Squid Game, then stay tuned. We're live at a special screening in Hollywood.
And a USC junior is rocking the art world one canvas at a time. The story just ahead.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write him a text or knit him a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write him a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Passage of the infrastructure bill is the focus of this week's Fireside Facts. Let's check in with reporter Marco Ramirez.
The biggest infrastructure bill in U.S. history is headed to the desk of President Biden. I asked Politico transportation policy reporter Julian Sotapuru what comes next after the bill is signed.
You know, in the next few months, you'll definitely see those things start happening. And long term, it will be huge for the infrastructure of America, which was definitely subpar for a lot of developed countries. I'm sure a lot of people see this in their everyday lives, potholes in the streets or, construction always happening.
The $1 trillion package aims to revitalize the nation's transportation systems. It also provides funding for clean water, the power grid, and much more. Now to pay for the bill. The government plans to use $210 billion in unused COVID relief funds and $53 billion in unused state unemployment benefits. Next up, the battle over funding social safety net measures like paid family leave, childcare, and education.
Thank you, Marco. So fast food workers will gather in front of several McDonald's stores tomorrow morning to protest what they say are unsafe working conditions in fast food restaurants. The protest is supported by Senator Bob Archuleta and Assembly members Richard Bloom and Miguel Santiago. Demonstrations are set to happen in Monterey Park, South Los Angeles, and West Hollywood. A big night in Hollywood for Squid Game fans. Let's go live to reporter Julia Kim, who is reporting live from a private screening in Hollywood.
Here in Hollywood, in less than an hour, there will be a private screening of the 6th episode of Squid Game. Afterwards, there will be a Q&A and we will hear from the director and 3 of the show stars, including Lee Jung-jae, who played player 456 as Song Gi-eun. What makes the event even more exciting is that the director, Hwang Dong-hyuk, is part of the Trojan family. He is a USC alum who received a master's in film production. Squid Game is the #1 show in 90 different countries, and Bloomberg reports Netflix made $900 million from the series. We're excited to hear what the director and the cast has to say about the phenomenon that in Korean we call the Hallyu wave. As you can see right now, we're getting ready for the red carpet for them to come at the event. There's currently about 30 people in line, and we're expected to see about 500 people. We're expected to go in at 6:30, and for Annenberg Media, I'm Julia Kim. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Julia. Now, to go over to Julia, our weather anchor. You know, Julia, daylight savings time's ending. Really, it was good for me to get the extra hour of sleep, but it's getting a little colder. You look at the live shot right here, it's pretty dark. What can you tell us about the weather coming up? And also, what's today's National Day?
Hey Nathan, thank you so much. Yes, it is really dark outside. Reminds me of the time I was locked in the basement for several hours. Very cold, very dark. In terms of National Day, it is National STEM Day. STEM as in science, technology, engineering, math. STEM as in I'm going to sit this one out. Today is not my day. Not a math girl. Except for when it has the word conditions in front of it. Speaking of which, today is 62 degrees outside. Looking at the 5-day forecast. Tuesday, a high of 65. Low 55, a little cloudy. Wednesday, high of 72, low of 56. Thursday, high of 85, low 59. For some reason, getting a little warmer despite daylight savings. Friday, high of 87, low of 60. And Saturday, high of 87, low of 61. For those of you guys going to the San Francisco football game, or as the kids like to say it, the Weekender. Have so much fun. Be safe. I'm going to be there. Come say hi. I will be tailgating. I am friendly, relatively approachable, not good at conversation, but I'm very easy to pick out in a crowd. If you just look for the girl just doing the robot, I'm very easy to see. Speaking of which, I'm going to toss it over to sports.
USC women's soccer is placed in the 3rd seed of the NCAA tournament. The battle for the title does not stop yet. And men's water polo makes a splash to defeat #1 UCLA, sparking an upset and ejection of the rival coach. And USC football's 2-quarterback conversation continues. What will happen for the Weekender game? More on sports coming up next.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows? Maybe life is looking for us, too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
USC women's soccer lands in a 3 seed of the NCAA tournament to play against Grand Canyon University on Saturday. This comes after a crushing loss against rival UCLA over the weekend, losing the Pac-12 championship title. USC and GCU hold one common opponent in Utah Valley. The Trojans played Utah Valley in their 3rd game of the season, winning 4-2. GCU beat Utah twice in the last week, including a 3-0 win in the Western Athletic Conference Championship.
We knew we'd be either a 2 or 3, so not surprised by that. We knew Grand Canyon, because of the distance, was a possibility, them or Irvine, and so Grand Canyon's good. They're tough. They've come through a tournament format. They're a champion. They won the regular season, learning from the championship game that we just got a chance to play, switching our mentality and bringing that mentality into practice so that we can carry it forward into the game, and then just enjoy it.
USC faced much tougher opponents in the Pac-12 schedule, as well as 3 ranked non-conference teams. The Trojans will face the Antelopes on Saturday at home at a time to be determined. With likely success, USC will travel to North Carolina for the following 2 matches.
The number 2 USC men's water polo team bested the number 1 UCLA Bruins last Saturday, avenging last year's Pac-12 championship loss. Trojan goalie Nick Porter held down the fort, allowing only 7 of 28 attempts by the Bruins. UCLA played well, but between the fans, the band, and UCLA head coach Adam Wright being ejected, the Bruins struggled to turn the tide back in their way. Moving forward, after some friendly alumni competition, USC will be competing in the MPSF Championship at Stanford November 19th. USC's Aaron Cayetano becomes the 3rd Trojan in history to win an ITA National Singles Championship title. The last Trojan who held this title was Maria Sanchez in 2010, and before that, Carolina Coleman in 1986. Cayetano battled Princeton's Daria Freeman in a hard-fought 3 sets. Although Cayetano started off strong with the 6-2 win in the first, Freeman responded by winning 6-2 in the second, leaving a nail-biting decisive 3rd set for these fierce competitors, and Cayetano pulled ahead 6-4 in the final. This was a phenomenal win, or a phenomenal showing by Cayetano. You know, she started off in the tournament 56 in the country and upset number 16 Isabella Fenning and number 23 Alana Smith in the quarterfinals. Not to mention both Trojan tandems, Aaron Cayetano with Grace Piper and Solomon Ewing with Snow Hahn, blasted through their matches with decisive wins as well. And now to Emily with football.
Are we feeling alive and well for the USC weekender? Well, USC football is returning to practice to face its 108th meeting with the Golden Bears. This comes after the 31-16 loss against Arizona State, where USC had the fewest yards per play of any game this season, 4.3 yards to be exact. USC is officially eliminated from division contention and must win 2 of its final 3 games to become bowl eligible.
At moments and times, just like all of us, we've all have struggled, and we're struggling at some of the worst moments. So even in that game, I believe we outscored the other team in the 3rd quarter, but the problem was we got outscored in the 4th. And, we pride ourselves on finishing, and last night we didn't finish. You can't change the past. The only thing you can do is try to correct it so it doesn't happen again.
USC hasn't lost to the Golden Bears since 2003, but the real question still falls on the quarterback conversation. Elon, do you think that the 2-quarterback system works, especially with what we saw in Tempe?
Well, I mean, Emily, what we saw at that game, I definitely don't think the 2-quarterback system works. You know, they had 3 good stops or 3 good turnovers for against Arizona State, but then you go into the 4th quarter and they're struggling to find their momentum, struggle to get a first down. It's like, is it really worth switching back and forth between the 2 quarterbacks, or should we allow one to stay in, you know, learn their mistakes, correct their mistakes, and make the right play so we can get some momentum on the game?
You know what, Elon, you have some really good points. I was able to attend the game in person, and seeing that front and center is really telling. You know, there was that one line drive by Jackson Dart, you know, being able to score the only touchdown that we had for the game. But at the same time, we have some rough patches. You know, maybe giving Jackson Dart just the end of the season to really, you know, pick up his momentum and show us what he's really worth doing for USC. That has a lot to do with all of this as well.
I agree. But until then, you know, we do have the basketball game coming up tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So, you know, Trojans can look forward to that, and hopefully we can get a win from there.
Back to you. Coming up next, hear from the founder of the Sidewalk Project, an organization working to help unhoused people through music, art, and film.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor, y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos, y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
USC junior Jack Parker is making waves in the art world with his mix of street and pop art. Parker is the creator and owner of Posted, a contemporary fashion, graffiti, and multimedia brand. He describes his style as very, quote, throw it all together. Posted might remind some of abstract artists like Jean-Paul Basquiat and Keith Haring.
DIY show or festival is put together by USC students for USC students, and it's really just like a showcase of the talent that we have at this school. And I've done a lot of live art shows where I would do, you know, live graffiti work in person. Just moving forward, I'm doing a lot of banners for 29th Street Productions, Live to Create, and yeah, I can't wait to see this community kind of grow and flourish.
Parker hopes to collaborate with other student artists in the future DIY shows. Stay tuned for the revival of Posted's fashion line, made in collaboration with local creators.
Now to our series, Making a Difference, when we introduce you to people helping to lift up their communities. Those living on the streets of Los Angeles need the basics: food, shelter, and clothing. But reporter Sarah Ansari talked to women who say arts and music are also basic needs.
These women all know what it's like to live on the streets of Los Angeles. Today, they lead the Sidewalk Project, a community-building organization that helps the unhoused communities. One of the founders shares her story.
I got sober 5 years ago. At that time, I was writing a lot about being a sex worker, being someone who was unhoused, being a person who used drugs. You know, I've been unhoused in a wide spectrum of different ways. That includes sleeping in my car, been in hotel rooms, you know, after being evicted and being evicted with my young child. But after I got sober, I really wanted to do direct action.
The Sidewalk Project provides aid in many forms to protect unhoused individuals from COVID-19. However, they also use other unique methods that might be seen as an unorthodox approach.
Right now in the other room, some of my co-founders are painting a skateboard that's going to be going to a music festival. You know, that's part of how we also fundraise.
They believe art and music uplifts a community and boosts the healing process. The Los Angeles City Council passed a new regulation restricting where you can pitch a tent.
It's now illegal to sit, sleep, lie, or build encampments. Things like this that just makes it so much more challenging for already marginalized people.
The Sidewalk Project remains committed to offering education and resources and advocating for the rights of those living on the streets. This is Sara Lansari, reporting for Annenberg Media.
You know, Brett, the stories like that, the Sidewalk Project, really give me optimism and hope. And, you know, as a music person myself, I played the viola in high school. The music really helped me get closer to my friends and brought me to a community. What about you?
I totally agree. You know, I was a musical theater kid growing up, and I played the piano and was in chorus, and stuff like that is super important both growing up and in college. And I really love that they're prioritizing both arts and music for everyone. And speaking of music, my favorite artist, Taylor Swift, is coming out with Red, Taylor's version, this Thursday night. So I am so excited for that. I already have a listening party going, so I can't wait.
Well, I'm not a Swiftie, but I bet it is fun. So anyway, everyone, thank you for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Nathan Hyun.
And I'm Brett Chody. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night.